Hello, welcome to another Purple Insider Extra. Matthew Coller along with Sam Ekstrom here. And Sam, want to ask you a question. Who do you think, based on the Vikings' moves or not moves in certain positions, is in a spot to emerge and show themselves as a player for the long term for the Minnesota Vikings? Who have their moves set up to have a chance to prove themselves in 2022?
Yeah, I think we saw this one coming, but Cam Bynum is in an elite spot to step up and be the week one starter. Because I mean, not only is there no veteran that he's competing with, but there's not really any young guys either. I mean, he's kind of unchallenged there. And I think we saw it coming with the way he played last season, transitioning from corner to safety. He was outstanding in his two starts with Harrison Smith on the COVID list. And I think that's an easy move for the Vikings to make, to say, all right, we're going to save our dollar at safety and just let you take this, Cam Bynum. And he's going to. And then you've got the other Cam at corner. I don't think anybody has passed him in the pecking order yet. Chandon Sullivan is a slot corner. He certainly has not. Patrick Peterson probably will not be back on this team. Nate Hairston, not sure he makes the 53. So I think that Cam Dantzler is still your number one cornerback on this team, and he'll probably have to be accompanied by either a rookie or a very late free agency veteran signing. But the cornerback situation shaping up so that he's your number one as we speak today, March 29th. So the two Cams are definitely in a big spot on defense.
Yeah, completely agree, especially with Cam Bynum. The things that Mike Zimmer was saying about him last year, I think he called him brilliant at one point, and then we sort of went, okay, is that just hyperbole? Well, then it wasn't, and then he played really, really well when he got his opportunity, especially considering that Harrison Smith went down right before the game, and Cam Bynum was asked to fill in, and it wasn't even his usual position that he'd been playing in practice, and all of a sudden he played extremely well against the Baltimore Ravens. So there's reason in that very small sample size to have some confidence in Cam Bynum. Cam Dantzler, we've seen limited bursts of very good play. We've also seen some trouble, especially situationally, but there doesn't seem to be any path to replacing either one of these guys with a rock solid deadlock starter that's going to take their job. Now, on the offensive side, I would say Ihmir Smith-Marsette has an opportunity here. Last year, we saw KJ Osborne take advantage of his chance and made some big plays for this team, including a game-winning touchdown against the Carolina Panthers. But Ihmir Smith-Marsette in the final week of the season showed some flashes, and when Adam Thielen was down, showed that he can run some routes and create a little separation and have some burst. And he also has a full offseason to learn some of the details better and know where he stands and what he needs to improve. And I think there is some upside for Ihmir Smith-Marsette. I would name two other players too. One is Kene Nwangwu. That the Vikings refused to use Kene Nwangwu on offense last year unless they absolutely had to. And even then didn't use him probably enough considering his 4.3 speed and what he did on kick returns. And maybe this is borderline. You could tell me, is Irv Smith Jr., is he still in this conversation? Because Irv Smith was going from a backup or a number two and slot receiver at times to the number one starter last year, but then got hurt late in the preseason and training camp and was out for the entire season. And now it sounds like they're going to be bringing him back a little bit slowly in the offseason program, but this is his big chance to become a potential star at this position. That's how it looked last year in training camp, but we never saw it come to fruition. And they showed confidence in this by letting Tyler Conklin go and not prioritizing keeping Tyler Conklin, knowing that Smith was going to come back.
Yeah, I mean, you hit every talking point there. Tyler Conklin filled in nicely for Irv Smith, but I think people would agree that Irv Smith is still the better talent. Now, it's crazy to think that we're entering year 4 of Irv Smith, and we have yet to see him really break out of his cocoon. And I know Kyle Rudolph was on top of him on the depth chart for a couple of years and taking a lot of reps, but it never formulated into what we really expected, which was Irv Smith moving all over the field and kind of like usurping Kyle Rudolph while Rudolph was here. That didn't quite happen. And I think that now entering a contract season, there's great incentive for Irv Smith to come out and earn his next contract, earn some big money in this league. And you know that if he has a big season, he will get it. As Tyler Conklin proved, all it takes is one kind of breakout year at his age to make lot of money. Tyler Conklin was nowhere in 2020, and now he's signed a $21 million deal because he had one really nice season. So Irv Smith could be in line for a massive tight end season. However, that also, puts the Vikings in a bind because then they've got to pay that and they've got to find the money for it. And if he hits free agency, that's going to be hard to keep him in a bidding war. But at least for 1 year, I think Irv Smith is going to flourish in this offense.
Let's talk about some of the guys who will not be getting opportunities that might have otherwise. Recent draft picks. We'll focus on those. The Vikings signed Sean Mannion back as their number 2 quarterback. And look, we respect Sean Mannion here at Purple Insider because journeyman backup quarterbacks like you are beating out a very large percentage of the population that would like to be an NFL quarterback. So you have to respect that Sean Mannion has continued to impress his peers and impress coaches, but he's also not somebody that's considered having much upside, that he is a backup quarterback and that's it. But bringing him back kind of says there's no confidence in Kellen Mond to take a next step, and Mond will have his opportunity to show it in training camp. But I think this is sending up a bit of a flare, especially with the familiarity that Mannion has with Kirk Cousins as the backup, that they still don't trust Kellen Mond, or the new coaching staff is not coming in saying, oh, we love Kellen Mond, we can't wait to see him as the backup. Signing Sean Mannion pretty much says it's very likely going to be Sean Mannion as the number 2.
Yeah, and obviously if a rookie was drafted early, then that would, doubly doom Kellen Mond, because then you've got the veteran backup and the rookie learning with him and Cousins, and there's not really much room left for Kellen Mond. And then I guess you try to trade him at that point because you're not going to keep 4 quarterbacks. It's all very convoluted, and that would be kind of a crazy flame out of a 66th overall pick. If indeed that came to fruition, we'll have to find out, obviously. But other players that aren't really going to get the opportunity, DJ Wanham, was maybe thinking, we might even lose Hunter. I'm going to be the number 1 guy. Well, now he's not the 1 or the 2 with Za'Darius Smith in the mix. At best, he's probably a rotational player, and I think that's probably correct. Even though he did end up with 8 sacks last year, a lot of that was just a product of being on the field probably more than he should have been, and he capitalized on some scrambling quarterbacks. But I didn't think his rushing instincts were all that good. And then those backup linebackers too, with that Jordan Hicks signing, we're not going to see as much Chaz Surratt. We're not going to see as much Troy Dye, who may not, have a long history on this team when all is said and done. And yeah, I can't think of too many other names, Coller. I think that on defense, they kind of signed the veterans they signed are certainly blocking guys. And Armin Watts, Harrison Phillips moving in. He'll take some of those Watts snaps, and we'll see how they arrange that defensive line in the 3-4, whether there's room for Watts to get in.
And I was going to throw Armin Watts' name in there, but also 2 guys that they drafted last year, Janarius Robinson and Patrick Jones, will not see a whole lot of the field if Za'Darius Smith is healthy. Maybe there is some rotation opportunities when Za'Darius Smith moves back to linebacker to rush from there, or outside left or outside right when he's shuffling around, that they'll be able to work in some other people. But it's not like they're going to say sink or swim Janarius Robinson, who was a 4th-round pick, or Patrick Jones, or even Kenny Willekes, who impressed at times when he was given an opportunity last year. So the development curve of some of these players, not saying it's being stunted by not getting on the field, but it will be harder to evaluate if some of these guys don't get a lot of playing time this year because of the Vikings signings on defense. All right, Sam, good stuff. And we'll always be doing the Purple Insider podcast every day, longer conversations just like this one. Remember to subscribe. Check out purpleinsider.com for our written work. We'll talk to you next time.